In the hush before dawn, the waters of Galilee whisper of a man once ordinary, a fisherman whose name would echo through eternity. Simon, son of Jonah, a man of rough hands, strong will, and a heart that burned with restless devotion. He was not a scholar, nor a priest, just a man called from the nets to follow a voice that calmed the sea. And that voice renamed him Peter, the rock. But every rock must first be broken before it can bear the weight of glory. This is the story of the man who swore loyalty, fell in fear, and rose in grace. The man who denied his Lord, only to become his loudest witness. This is Simon Peter, the rock who fell and rose again. The story begins on the northern shores of Galilee, a place where men earned their bread by the sweat of their brow and the pull of the net. Simon, son of Jonah, was not yet Peter. He was a fisherman, strong, impulsive, calloused by work, with salt in his beard and the sea in his lungs. His world was small: nets, fish, family, survival. Then came his brother Andrew, breathless, wide-eyed, his voice trembling. "We found him," Andrew said. "The Messiah." Simon squinted toward the horizon where the sun dipped low and a figure walked along the sand. Jesus. There were no royal robes, no crowns, no chariots. Just eyes. Eyes that saw through every layer of a man. "You are Simon," Jesus said, "son of Jonah, but you shall be called Cephas," the rock. A fisherman's life changed with a sentence. Days later, his boat became a pulpit. His nets, empty all night, overflowed at a word. He fell to his knees in awe, crying, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." But Jesus didn't depart. He smiled and said, "Fear not. From now on, you will catch men." That day, Simon left the nets, the fish, and the only life he'd ever known, to follow a carpenter who spoke like thunder wrapped in mercy. And thus began the story of the rock who would one day crumble and rise again. Months passed. Simon became Peter, bold, brash, beloved. He saw miracles no man could imagine. He watched water become wine, blind men see, and storms kneel before a word. But it was on a night of terror that Peter's faith was tested. The storm howled across the Sea of Galilee. Waves rose like walls. The boat groaned under the weight of fear. And then, through lightning's flash, a figure walked across the water. "It is I," came the voice through the wind. "Be not afraid." Peter, trembling, called out, "Lord, if it's really you, command me to come." And Jesus said one word, "Come." Peter stepped out, one foot, then another. Water held him. The impossible bowed to faith. But fear is the oldest wave. It rose, and he sank. "Lord, save me." Instantly, Jesus reached out and caught him. "O you of little faith," he said, smiling through the storm, "why did you doubt?" The sea fell silent again. Peter had walked where no man had walked, and learned that faith is not about standing on water, but clinging to the one who commands it. Yet inside Peter still burned a question: who am I that he should choose me? The upper room glowed by candlelight. The air was heavy with prophecy and sorrow. Jesus spoke of betrayal, of death, of denial. Peter, pounding his chest, swore, "Even if all fall away, I will never deny you." But hours later, in the Garden of Gethsemane, his sword flashed, and Jesus rebuked him gently. "Put it away." The battle was not of flesh and blood. As the mob seized the Messiah, fear seized the rock. He followed at a distance as Jesus was dragged to trial. A servant girl pointed, "You were with him." "I don't know the man." Another voice accused, "I tell you, I am not one of them." The rooster crowed once, then again, and on the third cry, the eyes of Peter met the eyes of Christ. Beaten, bloodied, but still filled with love, Peter ran into the night, his sobs echoing through the alleys of Jerusalem. The man called Rock shattered, the one who had walked on water drowned in shame. But grace was already waiting on the shore. The dawn after resurrection was quiet, silver, and holy. Peter had gone back to fishing, back to the nets, the sea, and the silence. Then a voice called from the beach, "Children, have you caught anything?" He knew that voice. When the nets filled once more, Peter leapt into the water, swimming toward Jesus. On the shore, a fire crackled. Bread, fish, and forgiveness. 3 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" And 3 times Peter answered, weeping, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Then came the words that rebuilt the rock, "Feed my sheep." Years later, Peter's voice thundered across Jerusalem. No longer the coward by the fire, but the apostle on fire. He preached to thousands, defied emperors, and led the early church through persecution and flame. And when the empire demanded his silence, Peter refused. He was crucified upside down, by his own request, unworthy to die as his Lord did. The fisherman who once trembled before a servant girl now stood unshaken before Rome. His last breath was not a cry of defeat, but a whisper of victory. To him be glory forever and ever. From the nets of Galilee to the cross of Rome, Peter's journey reminds us that the rock is not the man, but the grace that rebuilt him. He failed, yet he was chosen. He denied, yet he was forgiven. He wept, yet he was restored. Simon Peter's life is not a tale of perfection, but of transformation. The story of a man who learned that weakness is not the end. It is the beginning of grace. From the shores of Galilee to the cross upside down in Rome, his life cries out to every believer. Do not run from your failure. Bring it to the feet of Christ. For the same hands that caught Peter upon the waves will lift you too. If this story stirred your spirit, help it reach another heart. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to know that no failure is final when grace is still speaking.